I'm Carrie Peters, a recognized thought leader in the Microsoft Dynamics community and a Microsoft MVP for business applications. Welcome to the Get Your New View podcast. Keep listening to learn how we work with frustrated Business Central and NAV users who struggle to use their system and find the answers that they need. We teach them to truly understand how the system can support their business processes to make immediate and lasting improvements. As a result, they get more done in less time, make better business decisions, and even love their system. What are the next steps after the assessment is completed? You've gotten your recommendations report and you've read it. Now it's time to decide what to do about it. So you've got quite a few options. The first option is do nothing. Maybe you feel fully informed and you're not ready to move forward and you're going to think about it for a while. Great. Do nothing is an option. Second option is go through the list and pick through all the things that you could do on your own. Remember, we've got an entire section of things that you can do on your own. So start with that. But there may be some other things where you say, I could do a little bit more work on that, or maybe I could engage in some training first and then enact some of that change. So that's certainly something else that you could do. The other option is engage the help of somebody else to get through it all. Most of our customers are so excited about the potential of creating so much improvement, they want to get started right away. But the challenge is that they've still got to do their regular work. So they may need some additional resources to help them to get there. We'll certainly help with meeting with you to review the report. We'll make sure that we have captured priorities for you correctly. Sometimes they change, especially as you go through all that evaluation. Maybe a new priority bubbles up, or you decide that that thing that was number 3 maybe is number 13. We'll talk through the results and the recommendation report with you to talk over how much time it might take to accomplish what's there. Because that's the next challenge, is you've identified these things where it makes sense to do them, but how much time is it going to take to get that done? It's also a great time to talk about in detail how much change your organization can absorb. Because the pace of change and how fast your business is working will definitely be a factor in a successful use of all these recommendations, in starting that process of continual improvement. Pace of change will be important. So I'll give you an example of somebody that we had met with a few years back. A customer brought us in to assess their processes, and we gave them a pretty long list of items. I know it was well over 100, and there were quite a few that they could do on their own. And they decided that they wanted to wait and see how much they could get done on their own. We talked through the priorities, we talked through the pace of change, we talked through exactly how they could do that, and wished them well and moved on to other work. A year later, they contacted us and they brought us in because they hadn't accomplished a single one. Boo. So they were busy. They had a lot of stuff going on and they knew that they wanted to get this done, but they just couldn't prioritize it in their business to have their employees take care of that. We went through and organized the list, rechecked the priorities, and we knocked out 32 small projects in about 6 months for them. They had planned really on hiring 2 new people to accommodate for growth. And they weren't able to get there to accommodate that growth because of those inefficient processes. So by bringing us in so that we could get that done for them, they didn't have to hire those 2 new people. We kept that in mind the entire time. And we designed those processes to be as efficient as possible. They didn't need to hire those additional people, and they didn't need to do the work themselves. They got some help. Think about time management and your resources and your people. What's been on the list of I'll do it when I have time projects? So a lot of times, again, I'll go back to phase 2. What's on that phase 2 list? What got put aside just so you can get over the finish line with your implementation, which is totally okay. It happens with the majority of companies. But what's on that list? What's on that list of I'll do it when I have time projects? And when you think about any of these things on the business process assessment and the improvements you can make, think about how much time and money you could save, but also How much time and money could you save quickly? Create a timeline of those projects. Kind of map it out. Put some hours on it and map it out. See how long it would take you to accomplish those if you're doing it by yourself, if you're doing it with some members of your team, if you make a project over it, and make it realistic. Remember that you've got a primary job to do for your company, and doing this kind of stuff often ends up being extra. So what is realistic? Now, we went through the exercise of ROI, of return on investment, in the prior episode, so you have at least a couple of those where you applied some dollars. Think about those particular processes and now accelerate the timeline. If you think it's going to take you 6 months to introduce paperless processes to your accounts payable, what would happen if you could have somebody come in and get that accomplished in a month, or maybe even a week or two? How much earlier will you realize that monetary savings because you were able to accelerate the timeline and get it done faster? Okay, so that gets pretty exciting when you start to think about, okay, if it didn't take me 6 months, if I could just do that in a couple of weeks and move forward with that, how much earlier would I start to realize that cost savings because I was able to accelerate the timeline? And now here's one more thing to think about. What else becomes possible now that that project is done? Okay, I always think about opportunity cost. Now that we have addressed that inefficiency, put something in place, and got it done relatively quickly, what else can we do with that time or that money that's opened up? What other possibilities does that make available to us because we were able to get it done faster? That's a big deal when you start thinking about how accelerating those improvements to your company can create savings for you faster, but also open up the opportunity to do other things with that time or with that money so that you can do better as a company. All right. This is a great time to get to that phase 2 list. You'll find that there'll be a lot of things on the recommendations report. Maybe not all of those hit your top priorities, so we always have to remember our priorities, but this is a great time to put that together. But let's evaluate that just a little bit. Get out your phase 2 list. Keep in mind your priorities. What is the cost to make that improvement? Is there going to be training involved? Will you need to involve additional resources? Are there any new tools? And certainly count your time. How many hours of time is that going to take? How many hours are we going to save? Right? Let's go back to our ROI exercise of the prior episode. And how much savings are we going to have once we've calculated that? But now take it further. What else could we do with that saved time? What is the time benefit? What's the money benefit? And then think about the opportunity cost. Let's look at it from another angle. If you couldn't do this for 12 months, what is the cost? So if you couldn't get to that improvement for a year, like the company I told you about, how much would that actually cost you? Because you know you could improve it, you know what to do, but you just don't have time to get there. If you can't do it for 12 months, what additional cost is there? And then, of course, look at it the other way. If you can accelerate, if you can get it done faster, how much money will you save? How much time will you save? How much frustration will you save? And what other opportunities can go into that time slot to continuously improve? How much would you benefit if you could do that now? If you're still not sure, it's a great time to go through the ROI process to decide what you should focus on. One last time, get your pen and paper out and pick your top 3 things that you could improve today. Okay, and here are the questions to ask. How many hours of time will it take to accomplish that improvement? How much change will that impose on your company? And how will you accomplish it while also doing your day job? Okay, so how many hours of time? How much change is going to happen? Can your company absorb that? And how will you accomplish it while you're also accomplishing your day job? If you can do it, great. I love hearing that when people can just take it and run. But if not, there are plenty of resources to help you. And of course, we would love to work with you to help you on your project. Our team loves to enact the changes that we envision for you, and we can make it happen in a realistic and achievable way. Please contact us. It's super easy. You can just send an email to info@getyournewview.com. So that's info@getyournewview.com. And we'll set up a quick 30-minute call to talk about what a business process assessment could do for you and your company. Did your team ever really get good training to understand how to use your business software? Do you think you could use more features of your software if you just knew how? Are you frustrated with inefficiency that never seems to get better? Do you suspect that there just has to be a better way, but you don't know what that is? We believe every company can benefit from increased efficiency and higher utilization of their software, and that it's possible to have fun while learning exactly how to do that. The experts at NewView Strategies work with frustrated Business Central and NAV users who struggle to use their system and find the answers they need. We teach them to truly understand how the system can support their business processes to make immediate and lasting improvements. As a result, they get more done in less time, make better decisions, and even love their system. Please contact us at getyournewview.com to get started.